Welcome to Timber&Terra. I'm Glenn, and this is my relatively new box blade. I'm still a novice with it. Last video I did with this, spreading some gravel, I talked about my top link. I'm replacing this top link for one primary reason, which is this one extends only 28 inches. This is the maximum angle I can get. It doesn't, and my experience is that I had to use the 3-point hitch to control spreading. Even with this angle as aggressive as I can tilt it back to minimize how much I dig in, it still would dig into a loose material without me using the 3-point lift. So I'm thinking that if I have more stroke on the top link, and I bought one that's 31 inches, so add in about 3 inches of travel to the top link, then I should be able to let the 3-point hitch float and control how much I scoop up versus how much is just spread and left below by angling it more. So right now I have it set so it's the maximum extension on the top link, and the 3-point hitch is barely touching the ground. So the rear blade is barely touching, and here I have about an inch and a half. I don't think it's quite 2 inches, but a pretty consistent 1.5 inches all the way across. So I'll take this top link off and we'll compare it to the new one and then see what this angle looks like with the new one. So here they are side by side. This is the new one, obviously. So this one's category 1. This one's category 2. So significant difference is the pin size. But even though my tractor is 70 horse and it's listed as category 1/2, I have to have a bushing because the top link is actually the size of a category 1. The bottom links to the 3-point hitch are category 2 size, and even on the box blade, the top link connection is a category 1. So I need bushings on both ends to make that fit. So I bought a category 1 cylinder. The full stroke here, or the full extension, is 28 inches, pin center to pin center. This one is 31, I think actually 32, like 31 7/8 inches from pin center to pin center, fully extended. But you can see here, with the pins lined up, there's a significant difference just because of the size of the category, where I will have more stroke, but I think the collapsed center to center will be very similar. This one, I had to extend this in order to disconnect it, but with this fully collapsed, the center might be about here. So even though I gained 3 more inches in extension stroke, I'm not giving up 3 inches on the other end. So I'll have a wider range of, a good range of stroke with this. An additional 3 to 4 inches of stroke, plus the collapsed length is not going to extend too much. So I still have the advantage of reducing this almost as much as with a shorter cylinder. So this one I think is 2.5 inch diameter. This one is like 1.5, something like that. So this one's obviously going to provide less force, but I'm thinking with the box blade that's not going to make much of a difference. This one I think is made in the USA. I think I got it from Agri Products. This one I actually bought through Amazon, but it was made in the Netherlands. I like this one because it has this, and the other thing is it has this little center support for this tubing that goes to the check valve block. This one, I can't remember exactly how I did it. It didn't end up leaking or causing issues, but I think it was hooked here just to sort of hold it, and somehow it got caught on something and it actually bent that up a little bit. But thankfully no leaks. Does not have one of these things. I don't know if this is going to help or hurt, but I think I can just take this off if it actually gets in the way. They come with these two brass washers on one side, but got to remember to put one on one side and one on the other, otherwise it'll leak from whatever side doesn't have the seal. Bushing, ferrule, whatever that might be called. The other reason I got this size, because they do make a category 1/2, and you can have it either way, where it's category 1 pin on this end, on the blind end, category 2 on the rod end, or vice versa. But the other reason is cost. This was significantly cheaper than a 32, 31, or 2 inch length category 2, or the combination. See, this is my hook. I don't know if this thing is going to be good or bad. The other one, which is how I think I bent it, as I used that as a holder, which it's obviously not meant to be. But just with the weight of this, that would be fine. But somehow I must have got it caught on something. But yeah, I don't know if this doesn't seem to do any good for me, at least the way my hook is set up. I don't know how many times you can sort of retighten these, you know, like with a brass ferrule on sort of like a tube fitting. I think there's only so many times you can compress that brass and it still remain a good seal. So I'm not going to tighten this down super tight, but I'll tighten it as needed if it does weep a little bit. Guess I didn't check these fittings. So I moved the bottom of the 3-point hitch from that outside hole to the inside hole, thinking that will raise it a bit more. Well, let's put it to use. I have 2 loads that were delivered today of gravel on my road, so we can try this out by spreading that. Alright, so I have a bucket full. I do that for 2 reasons. One is ballast. I have it in 4-wheel drive, otherwise I don't have enough traction in this loose material to drag with the box blade when it's full. So it works for traction, and I have a spot at the very beginning of the road that's a little bit low that I sort of steal a bucket from each load, and I'm slowly filling in that low spot there. So again, my purpose here is to see if I can completely float the 3-point hitch and simply use the top link to adjust how much I take or how much I grade or smooth out with it. Well, at first attempt, it didn't work all that well because I think I was actually tilting it back so much. You could see when I was putting it on, I could actually lift the back of the tractor up. So I think I was just digging that in so much that it was catching even on the back blade. This is quite thick. He was supposed to tailgate spread it, and he did for the most part. I wasn't here when he did it. I don't know if he ran into issues. It looks like he might have got concerned here. Perhaps he sank in a little bit. I'm not sure, but there's a pile there, and this was like spread. This is probably like 18 inches, 2 feet thick. So I have a lot of spreading to do. Give this a good workout. So while I'll concentrate on giving you the view of the box blade itself as I work on the top link and get an idea how that works. Yeah, I think this is just too thick, so what I'm going to do is I'll push some of this thickness in that bare spot there and then grab that little pile and bring it in, because there to the left of that should be grass. So I'll push that into the road with my box blade and then sort of smooth this out. Have it in a decent shape before I try to use my method of full flotation and just using the tilt. oil sprays from somewhere. I don't know where. Oh, it almost seems like it's that crimp. Yeah, it's coming out right there. So, guess I need a new hose. So it's the next day, and I did get this hose repaired. I didn't get a new one. It was just the end, so I just had them cut off that end. This is the original one. That's the new one. So cut off that end on this one and put a new one. This one has some sort of a metric fitting with that brass bushing or brass seal. I'm not sure what it's called, but this I just had them put a regular pipe thread 1/2 inch nail, and I had a Pioneer fitting already, so I was able to reuse that, and it works fine. I did end up turning these tines upside down. There were some instances like when I was going backwards, where I had this tilted enough where the tines actually dug into the dirt. I'm not sure it was a huge impact, but I said, well, I don't plan to use these anytime soon, so I'll just flip them upside down. I was able to spread those 2 loads out even after that top link busted because of the check valves. It just stayed in one place, but it was good enough to sort of at least roughly spread that out. So I'm starting to learn now that I don't I can't just completely float it in all instances and have complete range of it. I have a sort of a finite range where I can use the top link where it floats and still maintain the amount of cut that I want. So I thought I would go through the entire road this graveled and just sort of smooth it out. There is a bit on those last 2 loads that I spread out that I want to fine tune a little bit. So we'll see how that works doing that. Well, that's it for these loads. That's a total of 11 loads. They're about 20 tons each, maybe 14 cubic yards. So I guess the things that I've learned are I can use the float and just the top link to adjust the spreading or collecting of dirt if it's relatively hard packed. If it's a nice flat surface, then I can do some scalping and fine grading with just the top link. But if I'm in soft material, or if I'm trying to move material like I did here, I was trying to move it from the inside of the corner to the out because I want it to bank this way rather than this way as you come around the corner. To dump material over there to the left as quickly as I wanted to, I had to use the 3-point hitch lift. So as you can see, I'm driving the struggle bus really fast right now. Hopefully I'll get better with time. I'm guessing I will, as most things happen. I did talk to the truck driver. This sort of haphazard spreading here resulted from him sinking in a bit here with his truck raised, his bed raised, and he felt a bit too tippy, so he had to put it down and then move a bit further down the road and then dump it again. So that explains that. It did make this corner a little bit more challenging to spread out because the tailgate spreading was not consistent, but I understand why. So I still will fine-tune this a little bit, but I think I've achieved my objective here as far as learning the basics of what I can and cannot do with the top link now that I have. It probably is more stroke than I need. Instead of the 28 inches, I probably could have gone 29, 30 instead of the 31, I think almost 32 inches of stroke that this one has. It's just more than I need for this particular implement. Anyhow, so I'll bring you back. I have just probably a third of the road, maybe, yeah, I guess third, no, maybe a quarter of the road left. Probably just another maybe 6 loads versus the 11 that I have. So thanks for tagging along with the struggle bus with me today. We'll catch up with you again next time, I hope. I appreciate it. Thank you.